warm welcome to the final edition of Breeding to Win for the 2019-2020 racing season. Well, it certainly has been challenging times for the horse racing industry, and my heart goes out to the breeders, owners, trainers, jockeys, grooms, and all the administrators involved in the horse racing industry. To all the racing fans and punters that missed out on what could have been a great high-felt racing season. But we live in hope and remain optimistic for the future of horse racing. And I'm sure it will bounce back bigger and better than before. My serious concern, however, is for all the beautiful thoroughbreds that unfortunately have got caught up in these uncertain times. I hope and pray that they come out of this okay. Let's take a look at what's on tonight's show. Fee catches up with some of the industry role players to find out how they've been spending their time during this lockdown. Fee chats to Justin Vermaak about the Stallion Erupt and the online Klavervlei farm sale, and we find out more from John Costa about the Gavel House farm sale.
Marsh, a big owner like you must be just as frustrated as the rest of us to not see your horses on the course.
Yeah, Fee, hugely frustrated. We thought we may race on the 1st of May. Now we're hoping for the end of the month, 31st. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. No sport, no racing. It's terrible.
Yeah, at least if we could watch them on the television would help. But horses are looking amazing.
Yes, the horses are looking very well. I'm just fortunate enough to be able to get down here and have a look at them. And they're going very well, and we're all G'd up to go.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the trainers have obviously done a great job, but the staff and the jockeys and everybody here this morning, the spirits have remained very high and everyone's quite jolly.
Yes, indeed. The jocks, I'm amazed, they have come out in their numbers. Not all of them, unfortunately. But they are here and everybody's working like normal. There's a great spirit. The grooms have been fantastic, particularly during the phase 5 of lockdown. They're all back now and everybody's masked up and adhering to the regulations. It's good.
This would have been usually a really, really busy time with the Durban season and Cape Town as well. And that must be, really, really frustrating for you. You want the big races as well. Yeah,
Fee, I can't tell you how bad it is. I would have been going to Durban and I've had to cancel all that and try and sort of rearrange for the July. But now we see today that the July, if we have it, is going to be behind closed doors. So, well, at least that's something. And, we live in hope. That's it.
Yeah, well, as soon as we get back on the track, we have got the exciting news that hopefully, racing is going to get back up there on the map and do well.
Yeah, Fee, I think we're going through a very tough time now. And Pumalele in Dire Straits, which has a huge impact, of course, in our racing, the stakes and so on. And I think it's a fantastic time to regroup and pick up and start all over again. And I think we can only grow from here. And if we do the right things, I think racing will be strong again.
Cheryl, you're a lady that loves her racing and her horses. You must be really, really missing racing now and, of course, seeing the horses themselves.
I miss it terribly. I realise how much racing is part of my life because it's empty without it. First of all, the horses. I love the smell of the horses, the sound of their hooves. I just think they are beautiful. And also the people in racing. They're such fantastic people and I've developed very good friends and it's such fun. And there's no source of adrenaline in my life. I miss it desperately.
Yes, we might be a little while before we can all actually go racing ourselves, but even if we can get back to racing behind closed doors and you can see your horses race on the TV, that will be something. And of course, they're all raring to go.
It's not ideal, but it's certainly better than nothing. The last race meeting at Durbanville was behind closed doors. I had 2 runners. It's not the same, but it's still preferable to having nothing at all. When they thought racing was going to start in May, I was very cheerful because I had a few runners that weekend. And then finally, the news came through on a Friday night, no racing. I was miserable, I can tell you.
Well, it's tough times for you as an owner, tough times for the trainers, the jockeys, the staff. seeing that everything's carrying on as normal at the stables, it's lovely to see, and the horses are looking fantastic. Have you had good feedback from your trainers?
Very good feedback from the trainers. All of them said the horses have enjoyed the break, and they're all ready to go. And I think they've done a fantastic job in the way they've managed the situation, the trainers. But we need to start racing for the horses and for the people, everybody involved. You think 60,000 people whose income's being affected. I cannot understand why it's not happening. It's beyond me.
It's really
disturbing.
Really, really tough times for us all, and of course the horses want to get racing as well. But some good news, because racing was in quite a sort of a difficult situation before the virus happened. But we've had that input of money from Mary Slack and her daughters. That's going to help racing a lot, and something for us to look forward to, hopefully.
I think that's the best news racing has had for a long time, because Mary and her daughters love racing and they know the game. We need people like that. I'm eternally grateful to them. I just think it is the most fantastic, generous thing that they've done, and I hope we can build on it and improve racing, keep racing in the hands of people who like racing and understand the game.
Ken Truter, certainly a man that will have been missing the race course. It's been a very tough time for us all, hasn't it, Ken, and a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've owned horses for over 40 years now, and we've been through a few crises in our time, but nothing like this, where I think, to be very frank and honest, the industry is fighting for its life. It's very survival at this stage, and so yes, one must address that. It is a concern. But I must say, news coming out of certain developments is extremely encouraging and making me feel a lot happier.
Yeah, I'm sure it's really good news. But racing is such a roller coaster as well, because obviously you won the Met in January. You were on such a high with One World and everything was absolutely fantastic. And then we come crashing down with this dreadful virus that's just put us all to a halt.
No, absolutely, and we had that very successful Asian Racing Conference, and then it's COVID, as I said the other day in another interview, and yeah, it certainly knows how to bring you down, this game, doesn't it, or bring you to the reality of a situation.
Yeah, well, we're all dying to get back on the racetrack, and we're not quite sure when that will be yet. But as you said, we've had some good news in racing as well. So hopefully when we can get back racing, we've got something to look forward to. We've all got to work hard, and it's going to be a long road, but there could just be a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
I think so. And, you know, if you start looking for the good news coming out of the industry as opposed to the bad news, there's a lot of good news at the moment. I know there were tests done in KZN, there were tests done, COVID tests, that is, in Reinkiesfontein, a couple of hundreds of workers, grooms, staff, and there wasn't one COVID test. So clearly the industry is taking it very seriously and very responsibly, and managing to go about their business without any infections, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. We also showed before shutting down that we could race behind closed doors. And I know we've got V. Moodley at the NHRA doing a sterling job. I think he's learning how to work 18-hour days, but I think he's put together, along with Arnold Hyde, a whole lot of regulations which actually is showing the government that we could conduct a race meeting and stick to all the regulations, which I think is fantastic. All we need from him is the green light fee. We're all dying to get our horses back on the track.
Bren Russell's one of our biggest sponsors on the show, and it's tough times here at Vasco. Hey, Bren, very quiet.
Yeah, it's exceptionally quiet. I mean, I think obviously during the shutdown we were completely closed. Now we actually, let me just lift this mask up a little bit. Now we're doing deliveries, so we're trying to enter into that market for a couple of reasons. Obviously, just to keep the Vasco name out there, and also to get the staff to be able to do something, because I think everyone's going crazy at the moment.
Well, this place is usually pumping, and the Breeding to Win team love coming here for a good lunch, and it's exceptionally quiet today. But your staff, they've all taken it well?
Yeah, they've taken it very well. I think we're very blessed with the staff we have. It's, as we say, it's the Vasco family. I mean, obviously for them, they've had tremendously hard times because a lot of their income is derived from having people here. So even with deliveries, which is a brand new market for us to get into, what we've done for the staff is the staff is actually going to be doing the deliveries. So it's actually going to be the waiter that would be serving you at Vasco, bringing the food to you.
Well, they must be excited just to be able to get going in some form.
I think we all are. I mean, this place does look like it's absolutely desolate and something from Armageddon, but it's actually quite nice to be sitting here. Although we're not allowed to be enjoying ourselves as much as we used to, it's actually to be good to be sitting at the Vasco.
I absolutely love the mask, Bren. Fantastic and great to have Vasco out there on our faces.
Yeah, if I could do a little bit of marketing, I think every time we send a delivery, we are giving these masks out to the people, just to remind them of Vasco. And obviously before they wear them, obviously they must wash them first just to make sure that everyone's 100% certain. But yeah, we're trying to keep Vasco alive and going. It's not easy. And as you can see, wearing this mask is not an easy thing, and definitely to be able to eat and drink with this thing is also going to be very interesting.
And in terms of what you're sending out on deliveries, anything off the menu or a little bit more limited?
We've got the main menu, but the three big things that obviously that Vasco is renowned for would be obviously the peri chicken, the prawns, and the trinachada. But also there we do have everything else that we have on our menu. I think there's an online ordering system, but people must remember when they do it, it's www.vascos with the S at the end. Okay. But yeah, and I think we had a really good Mother's Day. Tony ruffled up a whole lot of roast lamb and roast beef, which was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, excellent. So it's taken off well. And of course, we're really missing racing, as I'm sure you are as well, and all other sporting events. That's a big thing for us all as well.
I mean, it's terrible. I mean, we were just, the little, what do we call it, the castle bar over there, where Ali has his little betting shop. I mean, it was really starting to fly. It was looking good. And obviously, I mean, horse racing at the moment, I think we're all just hoping for them to get racing again, and to, even if it is behind closed doors. But racing's not without its problems at the moment. So if I can also just, from a racing point of view, just say obviously a huge thank you to what Mary and Jessica are doing to try and keep the game alive, because I mean, I think without the support of people like that, racing would be even in more dire straits than what we seem to be at the moment.
Yeah, it's fantastic news what they're doing. And when do you think you'll be able to open up? In what sort of level of this lockdown?
I think it's level, just correct me, Collins, level 2 or level 1. It's level 2. So hopefully, I'm not quite sure what the message was last night from our president, what level we're going to, but hopefully at the end of May we go to level 3, and then hopefully June, July we're back at level 2 where we can start leading normal lives again.
Mike, this lockdown has now gone on for quite some time. We're still not racing. It's extremely frustrating, but the horses are still looking well and ticking over nicely.
Yes, they've been doing well. Candice has been, she's been doing it more than I have. I just come down occasionally. She's been working the horses without sort of any race in mind, if you know what I mean. She's been getting them ready, then she's had to back off them again because nothing much has happened. So it's sort of like going up and down in like a wave, really.
Yeah, that's the frustrating thing, isn't it? Because you don't want to overdo it with them, and you don't know whether you've got a race, but you've got to keep them fit.
Yeah. You get them ready, and then you can't keep at them all the time because there's no race in mind. So had to back off them a little bit again, and then the moment she's been getting them going again. So hopefully we can race in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we've all been lacking a bit of grass as well, so I suppose a lot of horses are going to need their first runs back.
Yes, they definitely need a first run back. Looking at them, they're strong and probably a little bit too strong, some of them. But they'll definitely need a race back, or need a good grass gallop anyway.
Now, in your lifetime in racing, we've had sort of equine flu and other situations like this, but it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, look, equine flu, we got through that. We had a good few weeks without racing, but we got through that. But the horses were really sick. I mean, this time I think it's different. The people are sick, so the horses are fine. They're ready to go. So hopefully they'll be strong when they get back.
Difficult, isn't it, to keep owners happy, to keep your staff happy through these times, so everybody's itching to go and to race?
Yes, Candice sent half of the staff home and for the first month, and she had the other half of the staff staying on the property and sort of locked down here and working 4 strings or 5 strings in a day, and it worked very well. But they've gone back to normal now again. They've got all the guys back at work. The owners have been very good. Some of them are having a tough time, and they're starting to drop out a little bit, which is, I suppose, can be expected. But I think most of them are hanging in there, and hopefully we can get going soon.
Yeah, and Candice was due to send some horses to Durban just before this happened, so they didn't go. I mean, will they still go, or not much point now, really?
Well, I don't know what's going to happen to the Durban season. You know, they normally have a season where they were talking about setting it back in the beginning, but now it's sort of all fallen apart. We're not even racing, and it's the end of May. So, you know, perhaps they can have one or two of the races, but whether they'll get the Cape horses to go up there is questionable. I don't know. Perhaps just one or two of the Group 1 horses might go up for a particular race or two.
Yeah, it's quite sad because although there's talk that we will have the July, I mean, those top horses won't have had anywhere near the prep that they normally would.
Yeah, you can't get them in, you know, you can't have the prep races that they normally have. I mean, you know, they go into the Gold Challenge and they go in the 1400 and then they go to the Gold Challenge and then they go to the July. Generally the top horses, but those races seem to have fallen away, so we'll have to just make do with whatever we can.
The impressive-looking son of Dubawi, Erupt, is a dual Group 1 winner over 2,400 metres. He stands in South Africa at Main Chance Farms, and Justin Vermaak tells us more about this promising prospect.
It's lovely to be out here at Main Chance Farms this morning. The farm is looking absolutely gorgeous, really pretty with the lovely trees and flowers all out, and the horses are looking remarkably well as well. And of course, Erupt stands out here at Main Chance Farms, and it's lovely to catch up with Justin Vermaak this morning. Justin, morning.
Morning, Fee.
Isn't the farm looking amazing and the horses looking really well?
Yeah, it is. It always is this time of year, and it's just nice to get some people out to the farm because obviously things have been quiet of late, and with the lockdown and everything that's in play, and good to get the ball rolling again and start getting some stuff together for Breeding to Win, and to see the horses. Of course, we haven't been able to get here and see Erupt's weanlings, the horses that were born recently, and get new footage of them and that type of thing. Obviously saw a few of them when they were really small, and good to see how the growth is going on, and he's produced some high quality horses here at this farm and others, and it was a pleasure to get some nice footage this morning.
Yeah, Erupt looks really, really well himself, and of course, you know, for anyone who doesn't know, he's by Dubawi out of a Caerleon mare, and he's got a good track record as well. He really has got, he ticks all the boxes, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's you know, we've spoken about him at length on the show, and he's a horse that's in that eerie predicament as a stallion going into the second, third year. It's always a little bit quieter, and it's obviously been a tricky time to get support to a horse, but he's done really, really well in terms of coverings for his last season, based on foals hitting the ground and breeders coming back, sending more mares. So he got his numbers up to a good level last covering season, and you can see why when you see the size and the scope that he's putting into his progeny. And I think also coupled with the fact that Dubawi, as a sire of sires, is really doing well at the moment. His son, Night of Thunder, who won the Guineas as a racehorse, he defeated Kingman in what was probably the strongest 2,000 Guineas of the last decade or so. He has had a phenomenal start at stud. I think he sired his 9th stakes winner this past weekend. I think it was in Germany where they've started to race, of course. And that's more from his first crop than Galileo and his own sire Dubawi, and including Kingman as well, all horses that obviously had good starts, and Night of Thunder's out-trumped them all. Stakes winners in Southern Hemisphere, Australia, Northern Hemisphere, all over the show. So really doing well as a sire of sires now, emerging through, and I think one thing about Dubawi, that's the strong part that he has in his locker, is that he throws horses from sprinters to stayers and mixed types, you know, and you can see in Erupt's foals, the ones that we saw this morning, some chestnuts, some dark bays, a good couple taking over after the mares. We've got one there that's going to be pretty grey later on, and he throws to the strengths of the mare as well, and producing horses of good size, which is important for the sales market as well.
I was certainly impressed with what I saw this morning. Really good, strong bone in the weanlings. They really did look well, and nice, strong sorts. Yes, and from good mares as well, which obviously helps any emerging stallion. We saw that beautiful grey mare, Picanachi, was bought from the Motonshoek Dispersal. She's got a good, really nice pedigree, and I know her weanling that year sold for north of 400,000 by Silvano. And then the Niarchos family obviously retain a share in Erupt, are supporting him. And they sent some mares from the Northern Hemisphere recently, and one of those we saw here this morning.
from that mare, that great mare Divine Proportions, and also Stunning Colt. And then Cosmic Lights Baby she was a Group 2 winning Kirari, and she had a really nice flower alley at the yearling sale this year, and this Erupt foal is a really high quality horse as well. So good stakes performing mares from good pedigrees, and you got progeny that look like that. I think we are in for an exciting 2021 when we take them to the sales and start to get more serious with them.
Yeah, as I said, I was really impressed with what I saw this morning. I assume that they'd be heading for the CTS Cape Book 1.
Yeah, well, Tim and the farm will decide as they go on in the next few months. Obviously, these horses change at such different rates, but obviously we'll definitely try and earmark some for CTS, the January sale. And then, of course, nationals as well in April. Those are those type of horses from good mares. So I think come yearling time, we'll really see some impressive Erupts hitting the sales ground.
Yeah, something to look forward to. And just tell me, how much does Erupt stand for?
Well, we have to discuss that this year. He was at 30,000 last year. Obviously, he was reduced, as many stallions were last year, from when he arrived, just to get that extra bit of support, which really worked. This year, I think with the market, the way things are, no one's really come out and said too much yet about what we're going to do on a breeding front in terms of stallion fees nominations, and then even, of course, horses that are going to be born this season on live foal fees. I think the breeding industry is probably going to get together and arrange some type of relief for breeders who have to pay live foal fees this year, and we'll have to discuss that as the Erupt Syndicate as well, what we do with horses that are due live foal fees, and also what he's going to stand for this year, and how breeders are going to be able to make that payment, because we've got to be cognizant of the fact that a lot of breeders who are trading on the live foal fee basis are not going to be selling horses this year to recuperate money to pay those live foal fees. So it's a difficult time. I think when clarity comes, when we resume racing and when we know more about sales dates, then we'll be able to discuss those type of things, and he'll be pretty close to what he was last year, I'm sure, maybe at a slightly discounted rate, because he really was at a low rate for the quality he presents last year. So we'll have to discuss that and see as an industry, not just from the Erupt Syndicate standpoint, how we deal with stallion fees this year.
Yeah, it's a very, very tough time indeed for the industry as a whole. And talking of sales, we've obviously come to a bit of a standstill with sales. We should have already had the National Yearling Sale this year, which is still going to happen. And then, of course, we've got the Claverflay Farm Sale, which is going to happen online. And that's really, really exciting, a first for our country. Yeah,
it is. It is exciting. It's obviously we've seen at length how well it worked in Australia. I think the important factor in Australia was that they had big viewing days, and all the people that use their agents and trainers and owners alike were able to go to the farms and view horses, which is a bit of a challenge for us, especially for this Claverflay sale coming up, because with the lockdown still in play, north buyers from up north won't be able to view the horses, and they'll be relying on agents and the farm managers and that type of thing, which will happen, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Yeah, it's a different concept, and is something that's going to work in the future, I think, for all sales companies around the world. Goffs and Tattersall's in Europe, Arcana, they're going that way, and Keeneland and Fasig Tipton in the States also going that way. They've had a couple already in Argentina, online sales. I bid on a few horses in one there about 2 weeks ago. It was quite an interesting system where there was a deadline per horse, and then you had the chance to bid, and then there was 10 minutes. The horse had to get no bid for another 10 minutes, and that was yours, or the other bidder had 10 minutes time, and it was a bit stagnated because 10 minutes is quite a long time. Sometimes you have a bidder sitting there till 1 minute's left and then goes up $1,000, but I'm sure here they've worked out a bit of a shorter lag period, and it works quite well. It's actually quite exciting. You sit at home on your computer with a glass of wine or a gin and bid on horses, and it is quite fun. Obviously, logistically getting to viewings and that type of thing, our breeders here and our vendors have to take into fact that now maybe it's time that we start having higher quality photos put on websites and high quality videos and walking clips, which is something that even at our national sales you don't really get walking clips of horses and stuff, which is quite commonplace overseas. So we'll have to up that side of our vendorship, which is good, much needed. And obviously not a lot of traveling costs and that type of thing involved for breeders, so it helps from a seller's perspective as well. But obviously first time this is happening, so it'll improve as it goes. And I just hope this one goes well. I think it will do. There's a lot of big farms sending some stock. So it'll be interesting, and it's groundbreaking, and it's something that's very cool.
Yeah, you've got a little bit of a up on everybody else, having a bit of an experience. But as you said, it's not just Clover Flay selling. A lot of breeders have come on board, and with 135 lots, it's a good effort for our first online sale.
Very much so. I mean, Clover Flay have obviously joined up with Gavel House, who are pioneers in this field. They've been around for many years in New Zealand and Australia. And I'm sure the technical part of everything will be great. And then obviously they've got support from a bunch of other breeders who now, with the stagnated sales program and change sales program, need to offload yearlings that they would have offloaded already, are now going onto this type of sale, which is great. And I know as a farm we've put on a couple of horses at Main Chance, and we've got a twice over out of Sheena on the sale, who this country knows well as the dam of Horizon and Santa Clara, full sister to Silvano. So it's a beautiful female line going on that sale. And we've got a couple of others. We've got a Flower Alley out of stakes winning mare, Lumiere, and some real good performers and producers. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. We'll have the gang out in a few weeks taking videos and clips. And I think, as we were chatting off air, the buyers will be seeing horses that are a lot woollier and furrier than they used to, and not quite sales prep, but the horsemen will be able to see confirmation and that type of stuff through that. And it's looking forward to that middle part of June. It's going to be good fun, and to see how it all goes. Yeah,
it was interesting you explaining it, because I was reading up about it, and obviously you're going to have your wits about you a little bit when you're online bidding, and as you said, that gap that you have to make your bid.
Yes, I think you're going to have to make sure you're doing it from a place with fairly reliable Wi-Fi, because you don't want to rely on some of our African Wi-Fi that we have in certain places, and you get booted offline within that little gap that you have. But it is quite. It's something different, but it is quite fun, I must say. It was the one sale that I was following. It can drag on if the gap's 10 minutes, but I think this one's going to be quite a bit less, which will be good and make everything run quite smoothly. Yeah, well, I certainly hope it does go well, because, as you said, it looks like something we might be doing quite a bit in the future. But thank you very much for chatting to us this morning. We wish you all the best with Erupt. I really, really liked the weanings on the ground this morning. Really, really good, strong sorts. And best of luck at the sales. Thank you very much.
Hope you can buy a few sitting at home with your glass of wine.
Me too, thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Cheers.
Great to be here at Main Chance chatting to Justin. He's always very informative. Erupt was looking absolutely smashing this morning, as were his weanlings, and we're certainly looking forward to the Clover Flay farm sale next month.
Gavel House, in partnership with multiple champion breeder Clover Flay Stud, will be conducting an online farm sale from the 15th to the 21st of June. Fiona catches up with John Costa, who tells us more about this online sale.
It's always a treat to be here at Clover Flay Stud, and no better time than just before the Clover Flay farm sale, which is going to be on the 15th to the 21st of June, so just around the corner next month. And it's appropriate to be chatting to John Costa about the sale this morning. John, thanks very much for having us here this morning. We're keeping our distance, and it's good to see you.
Yeah, it's great for you. Thanks.
How's it been throughout this lockdown? Because COVID-19 has just played havoc to the whole world and the racing industry in a big way.
No, it has, Fee. You know, from the point of view of isolation, you know, we are one of the lucky ones. If you look around and see how many people are stuck in flats and only allowed to exercise between 6 and 9 in the morning. We're allowed out in the sun. We're allowed to carry on with our work. And that's awesome. It's great for the mind, and, you know, it keeps everybody positive. But obviously, you know, the times are so uncertain. But we're all in the same boat. And I keep on saying this, you know, it's the perfect storm. They're all different boats out in the ocean, and we're all in this perfect storm. So, you know, rather than sit back and just wait for things to happen and unfold, we've decided to go ahead and try something new for South Africa, I guess, from a yearling sale point of view, to try and at least get some sort of a platform to try and sell our yearlings.
Yeah, it's been a difficult time for the breeders. So many horses sitting at home waiting to get to sales, and this is a great idea. Obviously, Inglis decided to go ahead and have their sale, and that was quite successful. Is that where you sort of got the idea to go ahead and you know, co-partner with Gavel House? Yes, because we have mares in Australia, so we were in the same predicament whether to go for it or not, so to speak. So I watched the sale with great interest. Because, as you know, some of the breeders did not sell their horses on the sales, and others went ahead and sold on the online sale. And it was actually quite phenomenal to see how Inglis managed to do it, you know. So we thought, you know, the Klavervlei farm sale has its slot in the middle of June every year. You know, why change it? Keep it and basically, you know, give it a go and see how it goes, you know. I think the important thing about it is you know, we're basically going to be the guinea pigs, I guess. Nobody knows how sales are going to go in South Africa going forward. We don't know if national sales are going to be able to, you know, we're all going to be able to be there, whether we're going to be able to travel our horses there or not. So it's uncharted territory. It's extremely uncertain. And I dare say, you know, the South African sales companies will be able to have a look at how this sale goes and then be able to tweak and hopefully, you know, do even better. So, yeah, kind of pioneering for South Africa, but, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Yeah, and it's a starting point. But you've ticked the first box because you've got a big catalogue, 135, and well represented by other breeders as well. Yes, Fee, you know, in the spirit of Ubuntu, we've thrown the sale open to all breeders. We just feel this year specifically, it's not so much about getting the price for the horse, although obviously you want to get the best price that you can. But it's the platform to be able to sell your horses from everybody's perspective. And I think, you know, it's having to keep your yearlings so much longer, obviously the cost is immense. So if by whatever means we can sell the yearlings, give the yearlings a chance, hopefully, you know, the prices will be pretty good. At least something that we can handle. And then, you know, from the buyer's point of view, I'd strongly suggest that the buyers have a good look here, because they will be buying horses, I guess, cheaper than what normally would have been the case. And, you know, with South Africa, we've got to keep positive. Who knows this time next year where we might be. You know, we know that there's a lot of people working very hard behind the scenes to get Phumelela back on track again. We're extremely lucky as an industry to have Mary Slack and her daughters that are helping us out here, and you know, there's not many industries in South Africa that have that. So I'm still positive. The days are dark, but there's certainly a light at the end of the tunnel. And as I said, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Great to have other breeders together with us now. As I said earlier, we're all in the same boat. Let's row it together. And we've said before, you know, the Klavervlei farm sale has produced some really nice horses. You know, we've had Edith of Nance, we've had Captain of All, some real superstars have come out of the sale. And this catalogue looks equally as good, some really good pedigrees. It has, and it's been bolstered, as I said, by fellow breeders coming on board. There's a couple of horses that we didn't sell at the Book One sale that are also on the sale. I mean, Thunder Dance is a Silvana filly. I mean, a superb prospect, I would guess, for anybody who is interested in racing and breeding. So yeah, strong catalogue again, and as you rightly said, you know, Edict of Nantes was bought on this sale for, I think, 340,000 and resold for something like 10 or 12 million, you know. So there's always an opportunity, and those people that keep going to the sales, the old sales junkies, they're the ones who come lucky. So as I say, everybody's welcome to join us. Well, it's going to be really a new thing for everybody buying online. And I was just reading Gavel House's website yesterday and trying to pick up a few points. But just explain to us how it's going to work. The horses are going to be there for viewing online, but people hopefully will still be able to come out here and have a look.
Sure. So let's start with Gavel House. It's great for us to be partners with Gavel House. Obviously, within the South African sales companies, none of them had the format or the platform to assist us with this. So we went the route with Gavel House. They're internationally known. They're a global company. They've conducted a lot of sales and with a huge amount of success. It's vital, though, that the buyers do see the horses. So we kind of, banking on the fact that we'll be in stage 3, and that people will be able to come out to the farm, prospective buyers, and come and actually see the yearlings at the different farms. I think that's vital, and I'm convinced that we will get that right. And then once you've seen your horses and you know what you want to bid on, then you go back home and you've got like 4 or 5 days to actually make up your mind, put your bids onto the platform if you would like to start bidding early. And then the sale starts on the exact time when the sale starts, lot for lot, and it goes through. And you put your bids in, and it'll come up and flash 30 seconds left to complete the bidding. And once you put your final bid in, I think you have another 30 seconds after that to up it if you would like to. If the reserve has been met, it'll tell you all along there that the reserve's been met, and then you know the horse is on the market. And if not, then the website will tell you. It also has a repository, so we can put in our scopings, we can put in veterinary details, and then of course, there's always the telephone where you can phone the various vendors and make sure that you know exactly what you're buying.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be actually quite exciting, this whole new venture, and probably something we'll be using going forward, as you said earlier. And, for people that are up country and need to get on aeroplanes, if they can't, I assume there'll be agents to take a look at those horses for them as well. Yeah, and once again, I think one must look at it and say it's great for the agents that they can maybe get a little bit of extra action here, So we've got some superb agents out in South Africa here that at all the sales that are great horsemen. If I name one, I'm definitely going to forget somebody else, so I'll rather not name them, but we know who they are. And then, of course, we've got so many trainers that are really good horsemen themselves. And, once again, it's going to be a question of, if you would like to buy a horse, phone the bloke that you trust the most, ask him to do the work for you, So it's not insurmountable. It's very doable, and the cake can be spread a bit more. And in some ways, you'll get people buying online and being able to be involved that wouldn't have been able to make the sale, in any other ordinary time. Yeah, and that's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, all you've got to really ensure is that you've got good Wi-Fi. And I'm really hoping, because it's a novel idea, I'm really hoping people, even if, just get involved. You might be surprised in either way. I mean, what's been phenomenal for us is that we've actually had 2 or 3 overseas inquiries, because obviously going through Gavel House, Gavel House has a really broad-based international community. So you can imagine, I mean, minimum bid 5,000 Rand, what's that, $450 or something? Listen, I don't know if there will be overseas participation, but I'm sure that there will be interest. Well, at least you've got the opportunity to spread out there and see if you can get people interested. But it's going to be fun, as Justin Vermaak said. You can sit in the beauty of your own home, the glass of wine, making your bids. But you've got to keep your wits about you. Obviously, there's a sort of a time gap to getting your bid on. Yeah, Fee, look, I'm not 100% sure of if there's going to be a delay or not. We're really hoping there's not going to be delays. But having Gavel House run the sale for us, I'm extremely confident that it won't be like that, because obviously they've been doing this for years. So there are things that we'll be chatting to them about, and hopefully there won't be any hitches in that department. They're 10 hours ahead of us, I think, but we will be, obviously we'll be on the telephones, we'll be chatting to them all the time, and yeah, I'm really confident that it'll run smoothly. And when the sales dates say 15th to the 21st, is 15th the sort of first time you can go online, see the horses, start thinking about your bids? Correct. That's when the catalogue will be up, all the videos will be up, the photographs, the veterinary certificates will be up if there are any. And if you want to jump in early and put in a couple of bids, then you can start the process then.
But obviously when the sale actually starts, that's when the action will start, as with any normal sale.
Yeah, you've got to be ready. But seeing some examples this morning, you get quite a lot of information on the Gavel House website. So you get pictures of the horse, you get the pedigree, you get everything you need.
Everything at your fingertips, and that's the beauty of it. And you know what, those of us that aren't that tech involved or technically involved, he has a great opportunity to learn about it, because it's certainly something that's going to be part of the new world, I guess. And as I said earlier, you know, I know how important it is to see the yearlings, but here's a great thing for an owner. When normally he would have sent his agents into, or his trainers in, to go and look at the horses, and he might have arrived at the sale, or he might have been sitting at home, or he might have been in a business meeting. He can actually sit on his computer now, and he can actually watch the yearling that he's interested in walking up and down. He can maybe be on the phone to his agent, or he can be bidding himself. So I guess that this is a great way for owners to get even more involved.
Yeah, let's hope it opens up more opportunities. But we're all used to getting a buyer's card and being prepared for a sale. Is there any sort of registration that people will need to do?
Yeah, look, we've made it as simple and as basic as possible. So you'll get your buyer's card application, send it into Henny at Klavervlei, and Henny will then register with Gavel House, and Gavel House will send each individual owner their own username and password. So whatever username you want to use is entirely up to you. Nobody will know who's bidding. So it's extremely private, which I think is vital and very important. And then, yeah, all you need to do is press the button.
I think it's going to be really exciting. And of course, other sales companies will be able to use this as a guide to the way forward.
Very much so, Fee. And I think, as I said earlier, you know, being the guinea pig is not ideal. But we don't mind. We're going to give it a go, and hopefully, and I seriously mean this, hopefully it'll help all South African breeders, South African sales companies tweak the way that they do things, and you know, we can learn from it, and whatever sale comes next can be done even better.
Well, John, it's been lovely to be here this morning and hearing so much positivity. And the farm's looking great. I take it all the horses are well, and the staff? Yeah,
everyone's great. You know, we've got a lot of work to do, because previously we never had to do videos and still shots and the like. But you know, it's exciting. It's something different. The staff are good. Everybody's willing to do what we need to do to make it a success. I just hope that my fellow breeders see value in it. I hope they do extremely well from it. And I hope that the buyers can really buy some really good bargains that will stand them in good stead going forward.
Well, I've absolutely loved your positive vibe this morning. It's what we need, and no better place to be during lockdown than Klavervlei. It must be wonderful, as you said, the fresh air and the beauty of the farm.
Yeah, and great to see you guys as well.
Well, thank you very much, John. Wish you all the best for the sale. I'm really, really looking forward to it. A new experience for us all, and I think it's going to open a lot of opportunities and be really exciting.
Thanks, Fee. Appreciate it.
Always good to be here at Klavervlei Stud, as I said, and really looking forward to the sale, the 15th to the 21st of June. That's when you'll first see the horses going online on Gavel House. You'll be able to take a look at the pictures of them and get all the information. I think it's a really, really exciting new venture for South Africa.
Edict of Nantes is in front, the yellow cap. He's going on strongly. Nothing got a chance there now. Edict of Nantes drawing away in the closing stages. Goes away to win it comfortably.
Edict of Nantes going great gun from El Sahem. Horizon's back third. Edict of Man from El Sahem. Edict of Man takes it to another level.
Captain of All going on to win it, and Captain of All has got it won. Second place will go to Legislate, then Carry On Alice. Captain of All now goes on, and it's Captain of All from Goldstorm the last 100, but Captain of All has won it.
Well, that's a wrap for our final show of the season. Hopefully you'll join us next time for more Breeding to Win action. From myself, Julie Alexander, and the rest of the Breeding to Win team, stay safe and good night.